we'll fill you in. Don't worry. So you were mentioning about streaming though. And you
Yeah.
had a little. I want to know about that before we go.
Yeah, I think that's an important topic too. Yeah, let me share again my PowerPoint. Yeah, and
Sure.
let me see if this is. I think this is the one. So what I showed you is this 24. Let's say our system now have this end-to-end system, and you see streaming there on the right side in the middle as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always one of our goals to do that. And you see, this is the ecosystem when you're talking about everything what you have to cover. Let's say on the left side, you see there all the kind of content,
Mm-hmm.
movies, theatrical, and the domestic ones, music, broadcast, events, sport events. Yeah, then it has to go to a pipeline to all the distribution formats. Yeah, and how they're over the top and streaming, and how it comes to the reproduction format. So all this kind of stuff has to be taken account. Yeah, which is in fact concepted from the start when I developed this format in 2006. Yeah, and that's the reason why we could go easy to all these market segments. Yeah, digital cinema first, of course. Yeah, you have to start the format in cinema. We came as first to home, as well in automotive, mobile, gaming. So that's all happening at this moment. Yeah, so that was creating a serious revolution in the sound industry. Yeah, and let's say I think we were very fast followed by Dolby and DTS, and in fact we are the only three end-to-end players who are active on all those markets. Yeah, if you see, let's say the top 5 competitors. Yeah, so we have Auro, Dolby, and DTS, each of them with a different approach. Yeah, and you know as well, Fraunhofer is there with their system, but they do not have digital cinema. Yeah, they are active in all other markets as well. IMAX is in fact only a digital cinema and home. Yeah, and Sony 360, which is in fact mainly only in headphone format at this moment. Yeah, so. So this is, let's say, the way I believe that we revolutionized the audio industry. Yeah, this is a little bit innovation stacked. So I developed 3D microphones, mixing consoles to make it all happen. Yeah, due to that, it was easy for Dolby to build further on, let's say, the mixing consoles which were already provided, let's say, to do 3D audio. Yeah, as well on Pro Tools on existing workstations. Even as I showed you behind me, the API Vision has Auro 9.1. A mastering system that we have the mastering concept, the distribution formats, the auto codec. I explained that. The playback things, yeah, we have even the watermarking issues. And in cinema they use watermarking. Even that was being solved with our technology too. Yeah, and yeah. So let's say I think this was, let's say, the whole chicken and egg thing was then solved by, let's say, by having our automatic thing, that there was absolutely no lack of content. Yeah, and you see here the big steps in 2011. Now 10 years ago. Hey, by the way, this week I installed the first ever in Chengdu. I have to show you a picture. Yeah, in Chengdu I have the first ever system installed, and that was in August 2011. So now 10 years ago, that was the first ever install from Barco, and that was in Chengdu in China.
Wow.
And then a few years later, in 2014, we came with the first ever AV receiver to home. Yeah, we have then. What I forgot to mention is the first ever movie from George Lucas, Red Tails, in Auro 3D. And then in 2016, automotive, the first cars from Porsche. And now we have Geely. We have more than 1 million cars in the meantime. Yeah, the first games in Auro 3D and things like that. And I think we have now an amazing new thing that we did last year. The tests are running. We do a proof of concept now, let's say, already very soon now. Yeah, because Japan is going to roll out and use this technology that you just have seen. They use it for streaming over standard internet IP.
Interesting.
So what you see here, this is only one microphone rig, yeah, and this was a concept that they did in last year in October, yeah, a concept from a piano and percussion. Now, piano is always a very delicate instrument when it comes up to, let's say, to codecs, yeah. If I hear over, let's say, over digital broadcast a piano, it sounds horrible, yeah. It's all full of nasty artifacts. Same with percussion. So these are the most difficult instruments, let's say, to reproduce the dynamic range, everything involved. Yeah, and this is the recording rig. Yeah, there are like many microphones in it, but this was the only thing that we used. There were no, let's say, you see a lot of, let's say, supporting microphones, but finally they were not used. In fact, they only used Auro 9.1. They used only 9 channels. Yeah, This was the recording thing, let's say, where they did the recording itself. You see the speaker layout, very easy setup there with Auro. No overhead channels, which is, let's say, a nightmare to install. Yeah, just like Auro 9.1 and the encoding equipment. Yeah, and that's what happened. So we did the streaming live from that concert. Yeah, to as well in the auditorium in Galaxy Studios. Yeah, over standard IP, so there was not a special broadcast connection or something, a just standard internet connection. Yeah, we did it. They did it as well in Japan to about 100 households. Yeah, to let's say to see that everything works fine. The 5.1, because people who didn't have Auro, they could listen to the 5.1. They checked it in Auro 9.1, and at the same time as well to our soundbar. Yeah, we have an amazing soundbar. The feedback we get from the market is that this is the best soundbar ever produced. Yeah.
Is that
So
out already?
Who
That
makes
soundbar?
that? Yeah, who makes that?
It is. Let's say we have it ready. Yeah, but we
I
are
wanna-
we are working with
Dolby.
I want to be one of the first,
Ah,
Wilfried, to review that thing because people are already asking me, "Hey,
What brand's hooking it up?
I cannot tell that now.
Come on, Wilfred.
I
you
want to
give
be
us
one of the
no
first,
nuggets.
Wilfried."
Vizio.
You heard?
No nuggets.
You heard? I'm asking right now. So anyway, what else? What else?
No, so I was just
What
telling
else?
you guys this concept.
Yeah, look at this.
This concept. So what happened is, let's say what we did is, so on the left side it was in Japan, a live happening, yeah, and that came then streamed over standard IP to all those places, yeah. And they had, and very interesting, this is the Japanese way of working. They wanted to compare the real life sound in the hall with a system they set up in the foyer so that they could hear the streamed result, how people could hear it at home, compared to, let's say, how it was sounding in the hall. Yeah? And I tell you what, most of the people there, they said, give me the streamed result, because you really feel like you're in the hall. And you have so much more detail because the microphones are on the exact sweet spot where nobody can sit, yeah, and they're picking up so much more interesting thing that is, let's say, that is disappearing in the acoustics of the hall, yeah. And Raija Asakura, it's one of the most renowned journalists, audio-video journalists in the industry world. Is from Japan, yeah. He's very known, yeah. And he wrote the following on Yahoo.com in Japan. He said, "This experiment is groundbreaking in that it delivers a place and brings the concert hall itself into home." Yeah. And see the quote he wrote. He said, "I think it's a revolution in the way that Edison's Mary's Sheep was recorded on a gramophone." Yeah. So for him, it was like a groundbreaking new event. Yeah. And so that's I think which is our future. Yeah. And we are going to do the next test, I think, over 2 months, yeah. And then we are almost there, because that's, let's say, we are going to roll it out by the end of this year with Wow, that's the broadcaster, together with the NTT, yeah. And they are working on the integration of this technology. But then in Japan, people can hear sport events, they can have all this kind of programs exactly in a quality that you are used now to hear only from a Blu-ray disc in Auro 3D. With the same audio quality. There is no compromise in audio quality. It's exactly the same codec. So we have about like 1 million devices now in the market with our decoder inside. Yeah. So those people, those million households, they can have, let's say, that experience from every kind of content produced, let's say, by this broadcaster OTT wise. Yeah. That's just the start.
Just the
Wow.
start.
Yeah.